The speedometer needle sits at 40. The engine howls. The gearbox shakes under my hand. But the same crooked birch with the split trunk keeps flashing through the headlights over and over again. We are supposed to be somewhere between Borisov and Lepel, pushing east along a forest road in Belarus, November 1943. The map says we should have passed that tree 30 minutes ago. The odometer agrees. We've burned 20 kilometers of fuel at least. The men in the back are shouting over the engine and the rattling crates, asking how much longer. The birch appears again. Same split trunk. Same strip of white bark torn away, like a peeled bandage. Same nailed board with black letters we can't read, because every time we pass it, someone speaks, or coughs, or the headlights bump and throw shadows across it. The radio hisses. No music, no orders, just a low, steady breathing, as if someone is sitting inside the speaker with their mouth against the microphone. Keep line, Feldwebel Kranz shouts from the cab of the lead truck ahead of us, arms sticking out into the cold, gloved hands slicing the air, lights low, no stopping unless I stop. He always says the same thing, every curve, every dark stretch under the pines. He leans half out of the cab and signals as if we're in broad daylight on a parade ground. The scarf around his neck is dark with old sweat, looped twice, exactly the way regulations show. He smells of cloves and cheap tobacco when he climbs into my passenger seat to check the map. Always the same way, always with his boots, knocking mud on the step. The birch flashes by again. My hand slips slightly on the steering wheel, palms slick. The leather is worn smooth where my fingers always rest. The knuckles of my right hand ache from squeezing too hard. How far? Voices from the back. Otto, I think. Or maybe Jürgen. Their breath sends white smoke into the chilled canvas. They stamp their feet. A crate of mortar rounds rattles. I don't answer. My foot is already pressed as far down as I dare. The engine roars. The road hums under the tires. 40. Always 40. No faster, no slower. The same birch waits ahead, just outside the cone of light, as if it knows exactly when to step in. The first time we realize we are not moving, we have already been driving for hours. Back then, it is the same road, the same forest, the same November, only it is the afternoon, and the snow is still fresh. We are a supply column of the 31st Infantry Division, holding this sector east of Minsk. I am Gefreiter, Jakob Donner, truck driver, 22 years old, too thin for my uniform, always with oil under my nails. They moved me from the horse teams to the lorries when the battalion got 3 more Opel Blitz trucks and not enough men who could handle a clutch on ice. Donner, Kranz says the first time he climbs into my cab. You drive like you're afraid of the road. I am, Herr Feldwebel, I say, because it makes the other men laugh. It makes him shake his head and slap the dashboard, but he smiles when he does it. In the back of the truck, under a torn canvas patched with rope and tape, sit 6 men from 2 company. They are guarding the cases of ammunition and the barrels of fuel we are taking forward to a forward position near a village whose name I still can't pronounce. They bang on the back wall with their rifle butts when they want something, like animals in a crate. There is Krüger, who keeps a metal spoon in his breast pocket and taps it against his helmet whenever he is nervous. There is Max Bayern Hofstetter, who wears his field cap too far back on his head and chews sunflower seeds he buys from local women. There is Staszek, the Polish driver they have pressed into service, sitting on a jerrycan sleeves, rolled up even in the cold. Forearms roped with muscle, a cigarette always hanging from the corner of his mouth. There is the radio man, Lehman, who hums old songs from Thuringia under his breath when he thinks no one hears. And there is Weber, who writes letters even when the truck moves, the stub of his pencil scratching against the paper no matter how the chassis bounces. In the second truck, behind us, sits a quiet kid we call Junge, because his real name is too long, and because he is barely 18. He has a photograph of a girl in his breast pocket with a crease down the middle where he folds it each night. They are alive when we first hear the story about the forest. We have stopped in a clearing to let the engines cool. The day is already sliding toward darkness. The sun, a pale coin behind the clouds. The forest presses in on all sides, black trunks and needles shutting out the sky. Somewhere a crow calls, harsh and lonely. An old woman stands at the edge of the trees, wrapped in a shawl that might once have been red. Her boots sink into the shallow snow. The sentry at the back of the last truck has brought her closer, rifle angled not quite at her chest, not quite away. She smells of dried mushrooms and smoke. She points to the road with a hand as thin as a branch. "Not at night," she says in broken German through Slavic. "You don't drive this road at night." Kranz frowns. He has the map in his hand, corners already soft from folding and refolding. "This is the only road that doesn't cross the river twice," he mutters. "Pontoon is gone. Bridge too far north. Mine's on the track near the marsh." He taps the blue pencil mark. "We have to use this one," Stashek translates. The woman shakes her head, shaking all the way down to her shoulders. Her eyes are pale, almost colorless, and too wide. She says it is not a road after dark, Stashek tells us. It is a belt around the forest. The forest tightens it. Kranz snorts. "Ask her about partisans." This sounds like partisan talk. "Don't drive here, Herr Feldwebel. Go somewhere else. Somewhere we have an ambush waiting." Stashek's jaw moves as he translates back into Belarusian. The woman lifts one hand and makes a series of quick signs across her chest. Not quite a cross, more like drawing lines between invisible points. She speaks again, faster. Her breath smokes in the cold. She says the forest keeps its dead. Stashek says. His cigarette trembles slightly between his fingers. It doesn't like them taken away. Before the war, they buried many people in these trees, bandits, deserters, people shot without priest or ceremony. She says those graves are not sealed. He pauses. She says there is something in the forest that walks the road from both ends at once. If you meet it after dark, you will walk until your feet wear away and never leave the trees. Kranz laughs, a single short bark. "We have tires," he says, "and schedules, and artillery waiting for their shells. Tell her we pay her, if there are mines. Otherwise she can get out of the way." The woman looks at him. Her lips move without sound for a moment. It feels like she is speaking in her own tongue, to someone who is not us. Then she spits once in the snow, a dark spot like blood, and walks backwards into the trees, never turning her back on the road. "Charming," Max says. He takes a sunflower seed from a little cloth pouch and cracks it with his teeth. The shell falls into the snow like a small, broken tooth. We load up again when the engines cool. Snow squeaks under boots and tires. Fuel smells thick in the air. Someone slams the back gate. Someone curses as cold metal sticks to bare fingers. "Daylight left in us," Kranz says, swinging himself up into my cab. "We make it to the forward position before dark, if we keep moving." He adjusts his scarf. "Donner. Less fear of the road. More speed." "Yes, Herr Feldwebel." We make it that afternoon without trouble. The sky darkens, but we reach the forward huts before it is completely black. Shells whistle somewhere far off. Men shout and unload crates. Officers bark orders. The forest hangs at the edges, watching. We forget the old woman's warning the way we forget 100 other things we hear out here. It stays somewhere under the noise of engines, and orders, and hunger. It comes back when the first convoy doesn't arrive. 3 nights later, they tell us to go back down the same road. The front line has shifted again. The Russians have pushed here, pulled there. What was a quiet sector is now less quiet. A neighboring company is running low on ammunition. A bridge further north has been taken out by artillery. There is talk of more mines on the marsh road. The only safe route, according to the map, is the forest road, the one the old woman tried to keep us from. This time, we move at night. They want to avoid Sturmovik attacks, Kranz says. Sitting with us at a rough crate table in a half-frozen hut, while the lieutenant rants in the next room, and we have to be there before dawn. So, yes, at night, through the fairy tale woods. He grins, but it does not reach his eyes. Krüger taps his spoon against his helmet. We still have our headlights, he says. If there's something on the road, we run it down. Max flicks a sunflower shell at him. Unless it eats headlights, he says. Maybe that's why it is so dark here. Did you hear the part about walking forever? Junge asks quietly from his corner, the photograph of the girl in his fingers. He has dark circles under his eyes, Stoshek told me. The forest tightening. Like a belt. It's superstition, Weber says, not looking up from his letter. Every village has its ghost road. It's cursed well. It's something. We have a convoy to run. That's all. Stoshek says nothing. He is rolling tobacco into a paper with slow, careful fingers. His eyes are on the window, where the pines stand like black bars against a dim sky. In the end, what we believe does not matter. Orders are orders. We check the trucks. We wipe frost from windshields. We top up fuel. The cold eats at fingers and toes, creeping under collars and cuffs. The column forms just after dusk. 3 trucks at first, then a 4th, added at the last moment, with a broken headlamp and a driver who has never seen this road. The snow squeaks louder now, older, more compacted. The forest leans closer, branches heavy with white. Listen, Lehman says as we climb into the cab. The radio on his back crackles softly. They say there was a convoy last week. Took the same road at night. He shrugs. They never found it. Maybe partisans. Maybe they just drove into the swamp. Maybe, Max says, hopping up into the back. Or maybe they are still driving. Around and around. He makes a little circle in the air with his hand, looking for a way out. Junge laughs once, too loudly. Then he stops. We roll out with engines rumbling low. Headlights are hooded, beams cut to narrow slits that barely scratch the dark. The road is 2 lines of black compressed snow between mounds of white. Trees crowd so close that their branches scrape the canvas as we pass. The forest smells of resin and cold earth, and something else underneath, a sweet sour rot that has nothing to do with fresh snow. It clings to the air, creeping into the cab, even with the windows closed. Kranz rides in the first truck, map on his lap, hand on the door handle. I drive second, eyes fixed on the small pool of light ahead, following the red glow of the truck in front. The others trail behind, black shapes with glimmers of metal, their exhaust fumes mixing into a low fog. Speed 35. Kranz's voice crackles over the field telephone line strung between the trucks. No faster. Watch the ditches. We drive. The first hour feels like any other night convoy. Men shifting on wooden benches. Someone coughing. The occasional curse when a crate slides or a rifle butt knocks a knee. The forest, a black wall on both sides. Snowflakes begin to fall, lazy and slow, drifting in and out of the headlights like ash. At some point, the radio picks up a song from somewhere, thin and far away. A woman's voice in Russian or Belarusian, long vowels, a melody that sounds like a lullaby for someone already dead. Then the signal dies, leaving only a hiss. Good, Kranz says. We are too far from their transmitters. That means we are deep enough. The birch with the split trunk appears on the right side of the road, half its bark torn away, a gray patch like exposed flesh. A cheap wooden board is nailed to it, painted with letters in Russified script, so crooked they look like they are leaning against one another for support. I glance at it as we pass. What did it say? I ask. Kranz shrugs. Probably a village name, or a warning, or nothing. Keep your eyes on the road. We drive. The same birch appears again. It looks like the same one. Same torn bark. Same board with the same crooked letters. Same small wedge of shadow at its roots. I tell myself the forest is full of similar trees. That people nail boards to trees all the time here. That we are driving through a region of many roads and many villages, and they probably all look alike in the dark. But when we pass it a third time, and the fourth, the feeling that my skin is a size too small sets in. Did you see that? I ask quietly. Kranz has his map open, flashlight cupped in his hand, so the beam does not leak out. He glances up. See what? The birch? Donner. There are 10,000 birches in this country. The one with the board. He frowns, leans forward, squinting through the windshield. Snow flecks the glass. Wipers squeak. The forest presses closer, branches like fingers tapping the metal. We pass the birch again. Slow down, he says. No. Keep speed. 35. His jaw tightens. Telephone to the back. Ask if they see it too. I lift the handset of the field telephone mounted on the cab wall. Crank it once. The line to the truck behind clicks faintly. Second to third, I say. Do you see the birch? With the board? Silence for a moment. Then Max's voice, slightly distorted. Ja, an ugly thing. We've passed it twice. More than twice, Junge says in the background, voice tight. Kranz mutters something under his breath that is not in the manual. First truck, his voice goes back down the wire. You see the birch. A pause. Then another voice, deeper, the driver of the lead vehicle. Yes, Herr Feldwebel. It keeps showing. Maybe there are many. Map Kranz says to himself. He taps it with his finger, tracing the thin black line of the road. There is only one junction where this tree stands, and we have not turned. We should be moving forward, not in circles. Maybe the road curves, I say, like a belt. He looks at me. Shut up and drive, he says. We drive. The snow thickens. It falls new on old, filling in depressions, smoothing over ruts. The road narrows. Our headlights show only white and gray and sudden flashes of black trunk. The beams barely pierce the dark now. The engine noise seems swallowed, as if we are wrapped in something too soft to echo. You feel that? Krüger shouts from the back. It's uphill. It feels like the truck is climbing, the engine laboring harder, the gears whining. I press the accelerator more, but the speedometer needle refuses to move. A gust of wind sends a wave of snow from the branches onto the windshield. For a moment, all I see is white. My heart lurches. I keep the wheels straight, counting. 1, 2, 3. The wipers push the snow aside, leaving streaks. The birch stands ahead, patient. I'm telling you, Herr Feldwebel, the driver of the third truck says through the telephone half an hour later. The kilometer posts are not changing either. 16. Always 16. We pass it. Then we pass it again. There are only 2 posts between the ford and the village track. The driver of the lead truck answers. I counted them yesterday, and we marked one with a bayonet /KY. Haven't seen the slash. Maybe the snow covered it, Max says. His voice is thin, stretched. No. Junge again, I mean. Yes, maybe. But this is the rest of his words dissolve into a sound like someone breathing too fast. The radio hisses suddenly, loud enough to make us all jump. Lehman thumps it, adjusting knobs. Signal, Kranz asks. Lehman listens, head tilted. Then his shoulders go rigid. Not signal, he says. His face is pale. It's marching. We all hear it then. Beneath the static, a low, steady rhythm. Crunch, 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 like boots on snow. Many boots, a column marching in step. Is it us? Max asks. Our own road noise. Lehman shakes his head, though no one can see it over the wire. No, we're not in step. And it's inside the radio, like they are walking there. Maybe it's a broadcast, Kranz says. A recording. Then where are the voices? Lehman asks. There are no voices. No orders. Just steps. The sound grows louder for a moment, then fades, as if the invisible column has passed by wherever that frequency is. The static settles back into its low, even hiss. No one speaks for a while after that. Time stretches. Each minute feels like a length of wire pulled too tight. We check our watches. We all have different times now, though we had set them together before departure. Some are slow by 10 minutes, some fast by 20. Mine says we have been driving for an hour and a half. Kranz's says 3. You wound it recently, I ask. Of course, he snaps, then glances down again, as if hoping the hands will move to something sensible. Maybe I forgot. Maybe the birch with the torn bark passes again. This time, The board nailed to it is different. The letters are still crooked, but they are not Russian now. They are German. Rough, uneven strokes, as if carved with a bayonet point in haste. Halt, the second time we pass it. The letters are deeper, the edges of the cuts wet and dark as if someone has just finished carving. Snow gathers in the grooves, filling some letters more than others. The third time we pass, I see something else under the word, too quick to read, like a name. Did you see that? I ask. Kranz leans forward. The flashlight in his hand trembles slightly, beam playing over the map. He does not turn it toward the tree. I saw nothing, he says. We are continuing. Herr Feldwebel Donner. Drive the truck. His knuckles are white on the folded map. Sweat beads at his hairline despite the cold. Behind us, someone starts humming again. It sounds like Lehman's tune, the one from home. Only he is sitting on the bench with both hands clutching his radio set, lips pressed together. His humming is in my head, not in the air. Max taps the butt of his rifle against the floor in a rhythm that does not match the radio's phantom marching. Krüger spoon tinks against his helmet in tiny nervous taps. Junge folds his photograph of the girl again and again, even though the crease is already there. Maybe we turned without noticing, Weber says suddenly. He leans back against a crate, eyes fixed on the canvas roof above. Maybe there was a track. Maybe there is only one turn between the huts and the forward position. Kranz snaps, and I marked it on the tree with white chalk. His mouth twists. We would see it. We have not stopped. If you say so, Max mutters. The trucks ahead brake suddenly. Tail lights bloom brighter. I slam my foot on the pedal, heart jamming into my ribs. The truck skids a little, then stops. Crates knock into each other. Someone swears. What is it? I grab the telephone handset. Something on the road, the lead driver says. His voice sounds higher than before. 300 meters, maybe. I don't know. Kranz opens the door before the truck has fully settled and drops down into the snow. Cold air slaps my face as it floods in. His boots crunch away toward the front. The darkness outside the headlights is thick, swallowing his shape quickly. Stay here, he says over his shoulder. If I wave, advance. If I shoot, reverse. Reverse to where? Max calls from the back. No one laughs. I can just see Kranz's silhouette ahead, walking down the center of the road. His flashlight stays pointed down, showing only his legs and the ground immediately before him. The trees crowd in, their branches loaded with snow that creaks softly as it shifts. The radio gives a short, high squeal. Lehman curses, shaking it. The hissing, breathing sound returns, closer this time, as if someone is standing right next to us, mouth too near a microphone. Hello, Lehman says, voice dry. Identify. There is a crackle. Then, very faintly, my own voice comes through the speaker. Reverse to where? It says, distorted but unmistakable. Reverse to where? Max's shell hits the floor of the truck with a flat little tick. Turn it off, Junge whispers. Turn it off, turn it off. Lehman's fingers fumble at the dial. The sound cuts. The cabin is suddenly too quiet, except for the idling engine, the low whine of the fan belt, the ticking of cooling metal. Kranz does not wave. He does not shoot. He just stops. I see his outline, stiff and upright, a darker shape in the far edge of the headlights. He stands like that for 10, 15 seconds. Then he slowly lifts his right arm, not in a wave, but in a straight line, pointing at something on the road ahead. What is it? I shout. My breath makes ghosts in front of my mouth. Herr Feldwebel. He does not answer. I kill the engine without thinking and jump down. Snow bites at my ankles where my socks sag. The cold clamps around my legs like wet hands. Behind me, I hear the other truck's engine die as well, and doors open. Stay, I shout, but boots crunch behind me anyway. We move forward together. 4, 5 shapes in white and gray, rifles half raised, breath loud in the dark. The trees lean overhead like a roof. Snow falls in fat, slow flakes. We see them when we are close enough. 3 trucks, lined up nose to tail along the road, emerging out of the dark like ghosts. German Opel Blitz, camouflage paint scratched and dulled, canvas backs sagging under snow, engines dead, vents frosted over, our own number painted on the side of the first. 31-2. For a moment I think it's a trick of the light. Then I see the chipped corner on the front bumper where I hit a rock near Smolensk. I see the dent in the left mudguard from where Max dropped a crate weeks ago. I see a smear of dried oil near the headlamp, exactly where I've been meaning to clean it. All 3 trucks are us, ours, same order, same spacing, same birch, visible just beyond the last one, with halt carved into it. The back flap of the nearest truck hangs slightly open. Inside, shapes sit on the benches, hunched and still. Snow dusts their shoulders. Who's there? Kranz calls out, voice cracking. Answer. They do not move. The only sound is the soft hiss of falling snow, the ticking of cooling metal, the distant, slow knocking of some branch in the wind. I step closer, drawn without wanting to. My boots leave clear prints in the snow. The air smells of old exhaust, and something sweet, like meat left too long near a stove. Donner, Max whispers behind me. Don't. The face nearest the flap is looking down at something in its lap. A letter. Weber's handwriting on it. The looped, thin strokes, unmistakable. The hand holding it is gray with frost, fingers curled around the edge of the paper. Weber, I say. His head lifts slowly. The eyes are open. Frost rims the lashes. His lips are cracked. His breath hangs in the air in a thin thread that does not move. He looks right through me, as if I am the one who is not there. Every man in that truck is someone I know. Their faces are shrunken, skin pulled tight to bone. Their uniforms are intact. There are no bullet holes, no blood. Their boots are laced. Helmets sit straight. Only their eyes are wrong. Too still, too clear, like glass marbles. In the second truck, Junge sits with his photograph in both hands. The crease down the middle is deeper now, almost tearing the girl's face. His mouth is slightly open. Tiny crystals of ice have formed at the corners. Time of death, Max whispers, though he has no clock and no training. Nobody move, Kranz says. His voice is low, almost calm now. This is some trick. They moved our trucks here. They stole the cargo. They staged this. The smell is wrong. Not the wet rot of long dead. Not the sharp metallic temps of fresh blood. Something in between, like earth turned up in winter, full of roots and old leaves. Look, Lehman says. He holds up the radio unit from the first dead truck. Its battery cable trails like a vein. The dial is stuck halfway between frequencies. His gloved thumb wipes a patch of frost from the casing. Our call sign is scratched into the metal in his own handwriting. This is mine, he says. It's mine. Behind us, the engines of our living trucks sit silent, dark shapes in a line. Our tracks in the snow end just behind them. There are no tracks leading up to the dead ones. No sign of their arrival. It is as if they grew out of the road. How long have we been driving? Kranz asks. No one answers. I said, long enough, a voice says from the tree line. We whirl around, rifles swinging. Snow sprays from boots. Hearts hammer. The old woman from before stands between 2 pines. Shawl pulled tight. Snow in her hair. Her eyes look even paler now. Irises almost the same color as the whites. She should not be here. We left her kilometers back. There were no paths, no time. She walks toward us, as if the snow is no obstacle at all. You did not listen, she says, in her broken German. Her breath smokes. So the road listened instead. This is some partisan trick, Kranz snaps. His voice is higher. You moved these trucks here. You took the men. She shakes her head slowly. We don't touch what belongs to the forest, she says. You think you brought your dead here. The forest brought them back to you. She points past us, down the road, where the darkness thickens into something more than just shadow. We hear engines, many engines, old, new, coughing, smooth. Trucks, tanks, maybe even horse teams, all at once. A line of sound coming from very far away and very close at the same time. Headlights flicker in the dark, too many, stacked one behind the other like reflections in a broken mirror. Some are German, some are Soviet, some are so old I don't recognize their shape. They are not coming toward us. They are moving across us, as if the road itself is turning under our feet. The convoy that does not arrive, the old woman says. They keep sending you. You keep coming. Over and over. Her lips twist. The forest doesn't like straight roads. It remembers the tracks before the war, before your maps. She nods at the carved birch. It pulls the belt tighter every year. Kranz lifts his rifle. Stop talking in riddles, he says. You will come with us for questioning. She smiles. It is not kind and not unkind. It simply shows teeth. I came to watch, she says, not to walk with you. The first of the unseen engines passes just beyond the range of the headlights. A loud growl that shakes the snow off branches. We see a shape there, or think we do. A truck, roof caved in. Men in the back, faces turned toward us, eyes wide. They are there and not there, lit by a light that is not ours. Max crosses himself without meaning to, hand moving in an old habit. Get back in the trucks, Kranz orders. We are turning around. Where? I ask. My voice sounds thin. Back the way we came, or forward. Which is which? He hesitates. The engines in the dark rev, choke, move on. The sound is all around us now, the trees vibrating with it. The old woman takes another step back, toward the forest. Some of you will walk, she says. Some of you will ride. All of you will think you are still on the road. She tilts her head. You won't be. Not for long. Kranz fires. The shot cracks through the trees, scattering crows from branches. Snow dumps from overloaded limbs in little avalanches. The recoil jerks his arm up. The muzzle flash blinds me for a moment. When my vision clears, there is a hole in the snow where the old woman stood. Not a body, not blood, just a clean round depression, as if something heavy has been lifted straight up into the dark. No tracks lead away. We scramble. Orders become noise. Men shout over one another. Someone slips and falls, rifle skidding. Layman nearly drops the radio set. Max grabs his arm. Jung clutches his photograph so tightly the paper creases in new places. Krüger's spoon tinks an uneven rhythm. We get back into the trucks anyway, because the only thing more terrifying than driving this road is standing still on it. Engines cough back to life. Headlights cut feeble tunnels into the dark. Snow swirls in the beams like ash from an invisible fire. Turn around, Kranz says. We go back. We cannot go forward. That much is clear. He unfolds the map, with jerky movements. There must be a place wide enough. A track. The steering wheel resists my hands when I try to turn. Not much. Just enough to feel like I am pushing against water instead of air. Donner, Max shouts from the back. Why aren't we turning? I'm trying, I say. The muscles in my arms burn. The wheel moves a few degrees, then slides back to straight as soon as I ease pressure, like something heavy is dragging it. The truck behind us moves anyway. Its lights swing to the side as the driver cranks his wheel. The front tires groan in the ruts. The chassis leans. For a moment, it looks like he might manage. Then there is a sound like ice breaking under weight. The snowbank on the left collapses, revealing a ditch deeper than we thought. The truck's front wheel drops into it. The whole vehicle tips, slowly at first, then faster, sliding sideways. Men shout, metal screams. The canvas rips as the truck rolls onto its side. The lamps smash. Darkness eats half of the road. Out, out, voices from inside. Crates tumble, spilling shells that roll like giant dull beads. One bursts open, metal rounds scattering. We run toward the overturned truck. Snow cakes our boots, weighs down our trousers. Our breath forms a cloud around us. Jung tries to climb out of the back, boots slipping on the canvas. I grab his arm. His photograph flutters free, landing face up in the snow. The girl looks up at the trees with a faint, printed smile. A hand grabs my sleeve. "Leave it," Weber says. "We need to pull him." The truck is shifting. The ground under the truck is not firm snow over soil. It looks like a layer of white over something darker, more granular. For a moment, I think it's mud. Then I see the broken edges of boards, the curve of a half-buried wheel, the suggestion of another truck already lying there beneath, crushed and frozen. There are voices down there too, soft whispering. In German, in Russian, in something else entirely. "Don't listen," Max says. His face is tight. "Just pull." We get Jung out with 3 men hauling at once. His boots kick against the metal. A crate bursts, scattering rounds into the ditch. They roll toward the whispers, then stop as if caught on an invisible lip. "Leave the cargo," Kranz says. His voice is hoarse. "We can't waste time. We must get the trucks moving again before the unseen engines roar to a new crescendo beyond the trees." The whole forest vibrates. Snow cascades from branches in sheets. We see them more clearly now between the trunks, lines of vehicles from every side of the war. Noses up, headlights dead or burning with a sickly light, all moving in a circle. We are somehow inside. There is a wagon with wooden wheels and a team of horses whose ribs show. Men in uniforms I don't recognize sit in it, faces hollows. There is a column of Soviet trucks, canvas ripped, red stars faded, men standing in the back with bandaged heads. There is even something older, a cart filled with bodies in civilian clothes, arms hanging limp. They all move on a road we cannot see, cutting through space in a loop that does not match ours. Sometimes they pass behind a tree and do not emerge on the other side for long seconds. When they do, they are further along than they should be. The forest has its own traffic. "Get back in the trucks," Kranz repeats, voice thin. "Donner, we go forward." "You said back," I say. "What difference now?" He snaps forward back. We are on the belt. We drive until something gives. I climb back into the cab with legs that do not feel like mine. My fingers slip on the gear stick. The engine sounds too loud and too soft at once. We pull ahead, leaving the overturned truck behind, men from its crew stumbling along on foot, clinging to the sides of the remaining vehicles. Jung has lost his photograph. He keeps patting his pocket anyway, as if the act itself can conjure it back. The birch tree waits. "Halt," it says. Under the word, the second carving is clearer now. Donner, my name, cut into the flesh of the tree, letters crooked. Bark curls away from the grooves like peeling skin. I stop breathing for a moment. "You see that?" I whisper. Kranz does not look up from the map. "Keep driving," he says. "We will scratch it off when we stop." We do not stop. Time becomes a stretched thing. The road hums under us. The forest presses in. Men's voices rise and fall in snatches of argument, prayer, curses. The radio occasionally picks up breathing, marching, a distant song sung by throats that have no warmth left. The dead convoy stays behind us, but when I check the mirror, sometimes I see our own truck, headlights dim, canvas sagging, following too close. Inside, shapes sit too still, frost glitters on their faces. At one point, Max leans forward from the back and taps my shoulder. "Didn't we have a different driver?" he asks quietly. I glance at him. "What?" He squints at me. "You look the same, but you're—" "I don't know." He shakes his head. "Forget it." He retreats into the dark of the cargo bay. The spoon starts tapping again. We pass a wayside shrine, half buried in snow. An icon of some saint sits behind cracked glass, candle long since dead. Someone has tied bits of red cloth to the branches above it. They flutter, although there is no wind. We pass it again 20 minutes later. This time, there is a fresh candle burning. Wax drips down in clean lines. A little pool of melted snow surrounds the wooden base, as if someone has just knelt there. We pass it a third time. There are boot prints in front of it now. German boots. The tread pattern is ours. We do not stop to compare. One by one, things in the truck change. Weber's letter is no longer on his lap. It sits on the bench beside him, folded, a corner torn. He does not remember tearing it. Lehman's radio picks up a German voice, giving coordinates for an artillery strike. When he tries to respond, all that comes out of the speaker is his own voice, delayed, saying the same words back to him. Max's pouch of sunflower seeds is full again, although he clearly remembers tossing the last shells aside an hour ago. Jung's pocket bulges with the shape of his photograph. He does not take it out anymore. At some point, Krüger's spoon falls to the floor. We hear the little tink as it lands. When he reaches down, fingers numb through his gloves, he finds instead the cold metal of a dog tag. It is his. The name is right. The number is right. The chain is broken at one end, as if someone has yanked it from his neck. His dog tag is still around his throat. He puts the loose one in his pocket without saying anything. The forest presses closer. The branches that scrape against the canvas sound like fingers now, more deliberate. Sometimes they tap in a rhythm. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. Morse, 4 SOS. Fuel, I say, after a while. The gauge is dropping faster than it should. We should have reached the junction by now, Kranz mutters. There is no way this road is that long. The map, he crumples it in his fist suddenly. What good is paper in this place? I think of the old woman saying the forest remembers the tracks before our maps. We drive. The first man dies without bullets, without shrapnel, without blast. We don't even realize he is dead at first. He just stops talking. It is Weber. His pencil slips from his fingers and rolls across the floor of the truck. The half-written letter lies on his knee. His head tips forward slightly, as if he has fallen asleep sitting up. Wake him, Max says. Tell him to write me into his story too. No one laughs. Hey, Schriftsteller, Krüger says, leaning over, spoon hitting his helmet in a nervous rhythm. Get up. You can sleep when we unload. He shakes Weber's shoulder. Weber's body tips to the side, too easily, like a sack. His head lolls. His face is slack. His eyes are open. There is frost on his lashes. He has no pulse, no wound, no sign of struggle. He is simply gone, as if the forest has exhaled and taken him with that breath. We lay him on the floor between the crates and cover his face with a spare blanket. The truck feels smaller afterward. The air feels heavy. Hart, Kranz says after we tell him. Or the cold. Or, he rubs his forehead, leaving a smear of oil there. Write it in the report later. Keep moving. We pass the birch again. Halt, Donner, underneath. Another name has appeared. Letters fresh and dark. Weber. The cuts glisten, sap leaking slowly, freezing as it runs. I do not tell the others. It is quicker after that. The road eats distance without giving any back. Men drop into silence one by one, like candles blown out in a draft. Krüger's spoon falls from his hand and does not rise again. When Max reaches to take it, his fingers close on snow, though the floor is still metal. Lehman stops fiddling with his radio. The breath that has been fogging his mouth in small bursts simply stops. We lay them beside Weber, bodies bumping gently with the movement of the truck. Jung clutches his photograph and whispers the girl's name under his breath until his lips stiffen and the syllables freeze. We are down to 6. Me, Kranz, Max, Staszek, the lead driver, and one man from the overturned truck who has been running beside us so long his breath is a ragged saw. The invisible convoy in the trees keeps pace. Sometimes, in the corner of my eye, I think I see Weber sitting up again in the dead truck behind us, the blanket sliding from his face. When I turn, he is still lying where we left him. Stop, I say at last. My throat is raw. Herr Feldwebel, we have to stop. We are already stopped, Kranz says quietly. I look at the speedometer. It reads 0. The engine is running. The tachometer shows a steady idle. The wheels hum. Snow hisses under the tires. We are not moving. Look, Max says. He points to the side window. Outside, the trees are not sliding past. They are standing still. The same knot of roots. The same broken branch. The same little swell of earth. Only the shadows move, sliding along the trunks like spilled oil. The road hum disappears suddenly, like a cut string. The sensation of motion lingers in my gut for a moment, then drains, leaving behind a hollow. Silence falls. The unseen engines in the forest cut out mid-rev. The marching on the radio stops. Snowflakes drift down, lazy again. The birch tree stands just ahead, patient as always. Halt, Donner, Weber, Krüger, Lehman, Junge. The new names are darker, sap still oozing, thick and slow. Someone laughs. I realize it is me. Staszek opens the door before I can stop him and steps down into the snow. His breath clouds in front of him. He does not look back at us. Where are you going? Max asks. His voice cracks. Out, Staszek says. His Polish accent thickens when he is tired. Off the road, he walks to the side, boots crunching, until he reaches the tree line. The first branch hangs low, heavy with snow. He pushes it aside and steps under. Nothing reaches out to grab him. No wolves, no shots, no unseen roots to trip him. He just disappears into the dark between trunks. We wait. Minutes pass, or hours. My watch has stopped at some point, hands frozen. I'm going to. The runner from the overturned truck says. His face is gray. Ice crusts the edges of his nostrils. I'm not staying on this belt. If I die on my own feet. He drops from the running board and follows the faint impression of Staszek's boots into the trees. He vanishes between two pines that look identical to all the others. We wait longer. Headlights die one by one along the invisible loop of vehicles in the forest. At some point, Max stops breathing, his hand still in his pouch, fingers curled around sunflower seeds that never run out. His cap sits crooked, frozen in place. I am alone with Kranz in the cab. Permission to leave the vehicle, Herr Feldwebel, I ask. He does not answer. His eyes are on the tree, on the names carved into it. When he finally speaks, his voice is so low, I barely hear it. Permission denied, he says. We started as a convoy. We end as a convoy. He reaches for the ignition key. The engine coughs, starts again. The speedometer needle lifts, quivers, settles on 35. The road hum returns, or the illusion of it. Outside, nothing moves. We sit in a truck that thinks it is driving, in a forest that refuses to admit it. It never gets light. I do not remember what finally breaks the loop. If it breaks, I remember a flare, suddenly green against the clouds. I remember shouting in Russian and German. I remember the crash of artillery far away and far above. I remember waking up in a field hospital near Vitebsk with frostbite on my fingers and toes, and a nurse telling me they found me in a ditch by a road with no tire tracks. Babbling about trees that knew my name. They put it down to concussion, exposure, stress. They write something neat in the report. They note the lost trucks as missing, presumed destroyed. They send letters to families that say their sons died bravely in service. No one mentions the birch. Years later, in a different winter, I find myself in a car on a forest road, in a place that is not Belarus, but might as well be. Pine trunks blur past the window. Snow thickens. Headlights cut narrow tunnels into the dark. The radio picks up static, then a thin line of marching feet. I reach forward without thinking, and kill it. A tree flashes past on the right. A birch with torn bark. Something nailed to it. I do not turn my head. I do not look for letters. The road curves, or it does not. It feels like a belt tightening. You are listening to this in a warm room, maybe. Screen glow on your face. Walls around you that do not move. You think the road is far away. It isn't. There is always a road like this in every forest, in every war, in every year. A straight line some men tried to force through something older. A line that becomes a circle when no one is looking. Somewhere out there, in Belarus, there is a stretch of trees where headlights move all night and never get closer or farther away. Trucks hump over ruts that do not exist. Men in gray and green and brown sit on wooden benches, breaths freezing in their throats, fingers forever halfway to their rifles. If you ever find yourself driving a forest road and the same tree passes you twice, 3 times, 4, do one thing for me. Do not speed up, do not slow down, do not look directly at your own face if you see it in the window of the vehicle passing you going the other way. Just remember the names carved into the bark on the right-hand side, in a country where the snow keeps secrets better than any grave. And if you want to hear more stories that don't stop when the video ends, that follow you out onto dark roads and into narrow rooms, stay here a little longer. For the dead of the 31st Infantry Division, for Weber, Krüger, Lehman, Junge, Max Hofstetter, Stashek, and the men of the missing convoys on the forest road in Belarus. This is the only headstone they get.